The White Pine Forest Fire is still ablaze, having burnt over 1,000 acres already. The surprise cost of the fire so far.
And Robert Redford has passed away. But did you know he has a special connection to the Palouse? That story and more, up next on Murrow News 8.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Hello, and welcome back to Murrow News 8. I'm Peyton Yeager.
And I'm Blaine Akers.
The United States Forest Service has now spent $10.5 million in total, around $1.5 million a day, on the White Pine Fire. Federal officials expect the fire, which has burned just over 1,000 acres in Nez Perce since its inception last month and is 10% contained, to be more contained in the coming days.
Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs was in WSU's Bryan Hall Foley speaker room yesterday, in part of his push to clear up election skepticism. Hobbs knows that 25 to 30% of Americans think that elections are rigged or fraudulent. He accented that election votes are a critical right, and especially that local elections need votes.
Repaving of U.S. Highway 195 by Pullman has been pushed to next year due to the union strike that recently ended. The strike began August 12th and ended this past Monday. Washington State Department of Transportation officials confirmed that the work and traffic delays has been pushed to the spring, allowing the closure to finally open up for the first time.
Carl Joe Latonsky Hupp, a 55-year-old Lewiston man, has been found guilty of sexually abusing his coworker, who at the time was a minor. Latonsky Hupp worked with the victim at Zany Gray's, where he worked as a cook. His victim said that she thought that they had a, quote, father-daughter type relationship. The documents allege he invited the minor into his home in July of 2022, forcing her to have sex with him. He will be sentenced on November 19th.
On Tuesday, Pomeroy man Clinton Shute pleaded guilty to owning a business that made money off sexual activity. This is in connection to Shute and his wife, Ping Shute, and Wang Xiaohong accepting a $10,000 plea deal back in April for allegedly selling sex at multiple Lewiston massage businesses. Sentencing is now set for November 12th.
The Moscow man who was arrested for child sex abuse content pled guilty in federal court Monday. Devin Pickler was arrested by the Latah SWAT team and Moscow police back in February after his Kik account contained illegal content. He is set to be sentenced in December.
The Moscow School Board voted 4-1 to be represented by Hawley Troxell Law Firm on Tuesday night, as they are taking legal action against Idaho legislation that will give schools $50 million in state funds for tuition and other private school expenses. This would be through the HB 93 program. Members of the school board believe that the program violates the Idaho Constitution and will take money away from public schools.
Washington State University students are now able to receive rapid testing for sexually transmitted infections. On Tuesday, Cougar Health Services installed a new rapid testing machine for chlamydia and gonorrhea. In the past, these results would take up to 3 days when the samples had to be tested at an outside lab.
Yesterday morning, legendary American actor and director Robert Redford passed away. Redford was 89 years old. In the 1980s, Redford actually came to the Palouse to speak with WSU and the University of Idaho about creating a balance between the conservation and development of natural resources. However, Redford is most known for his roles in iconic films like the sports classic The Natural, the iconic Butch and Cassidy, and the Captain America movies. Redford also founded Sundance, the largest independent film festival in the United States. Coming up, it's getting cooler in the Palouse with fall right around the corner. Rachel Turcotte has got your weather for this week.
And there are a lot of events going on this weekend as part of the Apple Cup, including the return of a cosmic friend that represents the history of all of WSU. All that up next.
It feels like no matter where you look, the state of the world's getting worse. Oceans full of plastic, an endless amount of waste, an impossible task ahead of fixing our beloved planet. But change can't happen if you do nothing. So here's where you should start. Reduce. Why? Because Americans produce more than 200 million tons of waste every year, and you don't want to add to that. Reuse. Why? Because reusing and repurposing cuts back on unnecessary waste, and it gives things a chance at new life. Recycle. Why? Because recycling creates jobs. It helps our community and it helps our planet. And after doing all this, what will we be left with? We'll be left with a planet that will slowly start to heal. We'll be left with more money in our pockets. We'll be left with more opportunity for work. And most importantly, we're left with hope for the future. So reduce, reuse, recycle.
Apple Cup is nearly upon us. There are several ways to enjoy the weekend. Starting with the arrival of the Cosmic Crisp Apple Blimp on Friday at the Apple Cup Harvest Market from 4 to 6 p.m. on Moonberry Track. If you're looking to cool off with a drink there will also be Cougar Collective Happy Hour from 3 to 6 p.m. and First Down Friday downtown from 5 to 8 p.m. Well, I'm curious to see what the weather is going to look like with all of these fun events happening this weekend. Let's send it over to our weather anchor, Rachel, to see what she has to say. Rachel?
Yes, Peyton. Well, luckily for you, me, and everyone else here in Pullman, there will be a ton of beautiful weather coming up. And we already saw that with today's forecast, where we had a high of 83 degrees and a low of 55. And fortunately, these temperatures are going to continue into tomorrow's forecast, where we have another high of 83 degrees and a low of 52 degrees. So if you want to kick your Apple Cup weekend off early, it is going to be the perfect weather for that. And looking ahead across the state here, our friends in Seattle are still going to have some sunny weather coming up, but the temperature is going to be a little cooler. Seattle, high of 74, and Olympia, a high of 76. So for those of you Huskies who are going to be coming over to Pullman for Apple Cup weekend, you won't have to worry about any slick or unsafe driving conditions. And looking up ahead here in Spokane, our friends in Spokane, they're going to have a high of 87 degrees, and in Pullman, a high of 83 degrees. So we will have a lot of sunny weather, but a little hotter here on the east side. Now, looking ahead into our 5-day forecast here in Pullman, again, look how beautiful this is. We have beautiful 80-degree temperatures, and for our Apple Cup here on Saturday, we're going to have a high of 80 degrees and a low of 53 degrees. So for those of you who are attending the Apple Cup in person, wear a ton of sunscreen and be hydrated. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rachel. Up next, volleyball kicks off Apple Cup week. What head coach Casey Schrader had to say heading into the tough matchup.
And Coach Jimmy Rogers told everyone that the QB spot is up for grabs at practice this week. Who WSU students think should end up on top? Up next in sports.
WSU women's volleyball is hosting in Pullman for the first time in the 2025 season. As they host the Apple Cup against the Huskies tonight at 7 in Bowler Gym. WSU is currently 5-3 on the season, and UW is 4-10. Here's what Coach Corey Schrader had to say about the matchup.
It's a high caliber team, and they're pretty well rounded, especially on the pin. They've had two different outsides and a right side that have gone for 3+ kills a set. So they're very capable. They're pretty limited as far as the personnel that they have out there. All three pins are playing 6 rotations for them. That's going to definitely put some pressure on us. Hopefully we'll be able to get after them a little bit with our serve.
WSU soccer is set out to face North Dakota State University tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here in Pullman. This season, the Cougars recorded is 1-2 and 3. They're looking to get their second win of the season. This is the second matchup between these teams, the first being in 2016 when the Cougars defeated the Bison 5-0. After going undefeated last year, the Wazoo swim team kicks off their season this Friday with their Crimson and Gray intra-squad meet. Crimson looks to bounce back after losing to Gray 2-41 to 1-86 in last year's event. The meet will be held at Gibb Pool at 4 p.m. and should serve as good practice for the Cougs before their Fresno State invite in early October. The WSU QB competition is back on for the Apple Cup after head coach Jimmy Rogers told press on Monday that at QB, it'll be open this week. This comes after a rough game last week where Jackson Potter threw 3 interceptions and Julian Duggar had a fumble of his own. The other options at QB are senior Zevi Eckhouse and Rutgers transfer Johnny Shepard. We went on campus to ask students who they thought should be manning the helm.
I'm gonna take Zevi.
Probably Jackson Potter.
Jackson Potter.
Honestly, I'm feeling Eckhouse, bro. He was looking nice. Only one to put up a tutty. That's the one.
Because I feel like he'll bounce back from his 3 interception half.
Because I heard he's a dog.
I think he's the best one.
WSU football's media team just announced that the uniforms for the Apple Cup will be new. The Cougs will be wearing the same uniforms as last year's game against Texas Tech, but this time they'll have a beautiful new crimson face mask. Our Pullman High School Greyhounds have an exciting schedule ahead. They will be facing off against North Central High School at home this Thursday and away at John R. Rogers High School next Tuesday and at home against West Valley High next Thursday. The legend of Cal Riley continues. During last night's showdown against the Royals, Cal added 2 more home runs to his resume and a 12-5 victory. He now holds the record for most home runs by a switch hitter and is tied with Ken Griffey Jr. for the most home runs by a Mariner with 56 home runs. The Mariners are currently playing the Royals again live on Root Sports. Week 3 of the NFL will start tomorrow with a Thursday night AFC East matchup between 0-2 Miami Dolphins and 2-0 Buffalo Bills. Quarterback reigning MVP Josh Allen is looking to strengthen his case for a second MVP. The game is at 5:15 tomorrow.
A Pullman boy overcame a heart defect and has now been named a Youth Heart Ambassador by the American Heart Association. How he's using his story to inspire others. Stick around.
They took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
A local boy overcame a heart defect and is now volunteering his time. Wesley Carl, a 10-year-old who had a heart defect, overcame it and is now sharing his story and encouraging kids to participate in the Kids Heart Challenge and American Heart Challenge, both intended at promoting healthier lifestyles and raising funding for related research.
Wow, that is so noble of him to be participating in this challenge. Do we know what the challenge actually is?
I don't know about the challenge, but it is cool to see young folks doing some good stuff in the community.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very impactful for sure.
I agree. I feel like Pullman is so centered around college students, so it's really good to see that.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night and good luck from Murrow News 8.